All right, I believe we are live. So I hope everybody had a very good Christmas holiday. I know I enjoyed the time off. So we're going to be talking today about Section 8 housing and the Omicron variant. So there's a lot of different things that have been going on with that. I'm also going to include some information in regards to some personal matters. As you know, my channel, I tend to inject part of my life into my videos. That's all right. It means you get an opportunity to get to know me. Now, for the premise of the video, to let you know, I am a Section 8 consultant. Have been for almost 20 years. I've completed about 8 years on YouTube. I think we're somewhere around 300 videos, and I do work for Section 8 clients, low income clients, landlords, investors, banks, and so on. So there's a great number of people that I deal with to assist them in the process of dealing with Section 8, the vouchers, casework. Just to be clear, the kind of casework that I do is with the intent to get somebody to get or to utilize a voucher, affordable housing, low income housing, and so on, and to avoid project based housing at all costs, with exception. There are a few exceptions to the rule. So, now a few things I want to cover real quick. These are going to be personal matters, and again, I've already explained that part. I always inject my personal life because these videos, when you're talking about Section 8, it does get a little bit boring and exasperating after a while. So I like to spice it up a little bit. So, one of the first things I want to tell you guys is Sunday, if y'all remember last year, I was unable to record for quite a while because snow came to Texas, and that's a very rare event. We were woefully unprepared for that, so much so that it knocked out 90% of our grid, electrical grid. And so it looks like we're going to be having another event this Sunday that's dropping below freezing. And our power lines aren't even prepared for a quarter inch of ice or snow. So I'm a little bit nervous because I had to spend 4 days in a home where it was around 20 degrees in the house. I mean, even the water in the commode was frozen. And my cats, we all suffered immensely. I mean, all I had was a burner and a few candles. Nobody thought that could happen. Climate and its changes is definitely a big effect. All right. So, Mary Smith, hey, good morning. How are you? I got your email, by the way. And one more thing, let you guys know this is a live video. You can chat with me. It does the live chat does not always work across all devices. If you do decide to ask questions, and this video is about questions, if you have questions about Section 8, low income housing, vouchers, and so on, now would be appropriate time to ask those questions versus, booking consults with me. Some of the easier things I can answer here, as long as it's not complex. Also, there's a small delay with chat, so you may ask a question and it may take a minute before it comes through. So, all right, moving on from that. Now, the one thing I want to tell you is we did a prior video in relation to a Ramadan variant. I'm not going to make the video specifically about that. I'm just going to say that as of today, it's gone parabolic, and we expect it to do so. It spreads very rapidly. It's not a very intense variant. In other words, it doesn't appear to be doing as much damage as the other variants, but it spreads like wildfire. And so I posted a picture on the community page. If you click on my photo in the YouTube channel, it'll bring you to the main page. And on the main page, you'll see a bar. And on that bar, you'll see community page. When you click it, you'll see, a little graphic. And as of today, we're at 300,000 cases. We just got started, and the reporting data is actually 3 weeks old because that's as quickly as they track it. And so the problem we're having around the nation is what I said is the effect it's going to have on housing for 2022. And we're going to have a hell of a time from January to March because though the country and its politicians say that we're probably not going to lock down, they're already doing it. Okay. They're just slowly doing it. That's why a lot of people are still stuck in airports and other things. And so it's an issue. We'll probably reach around 1 million cases a day at some point between now and March. And then, of course, it'll taper off. But the effect on housing and what it's going to do to people's jobs and other things, because businesses make their own decisions about whether or not they're open. And so when you take out the income part of this and you add the fact that we are already low income, and then we're dealing with the housing authorities that were already overwhelmed from COVID-19, you see the effect. It really does stress the system, and it has been stressed to its limit. Now this will likely break it. I'm very concerned. There are no more federal funds to help with this. And so if it takes out the country temporarily from January to March, we're going to have a lot of problems. Now, again, this is just going to be problems in relation to low income housing, affordable housing, and Section 8. So I'm just preparing all of you. This is going to be a very difficult 3 months for those of you that are working with me, as well as seeking out the assistance of getting housing. It's just a reality, and we need to adjust course in the way that we're thinking now. That way, we're not filled with a lot of disappointment. I'm going to continue on my path to help all of my clients. I have around 100 clients a month, and it's a lot of work because mainly housing authorities are already closed. The few that haven't quit their job at the housing authority, working from home. And if you thought those people at the housing authority didn't want to work when they were at their job, now they're at home, and it's gotten that much worse. You can't even get a live person anymore. It's gotten crazy. So I'm going to address a few comments that I see in this live video. And by the way, if you see this video later, I'm just going to let you know this video was created on 12/18/2021. And it's approximately 10:20 a.m. Texas time. It's probably 8 o'clock in the morning on California West Coast, and in New York it's probably around 11:20 in the morning. So, and this video will be about an hour, so you may catch it later, and you won't be able to chat. All right, Mary Smith, GM, I'm well. I'm glad to hear it, Mary. I'm being Melanie. Does it pertain to California as well? Yes, it does. It certainly does. California has already got a monstrous problem with 200,000 people seeking the same thing. People and residents of the state of California have migrated so heavily across New Mexico, Nevada, and so on that they actually shut down the system in those states. In other words, people from New Mexico, Nevada, and so on up in that area there, the housing authorities were so overwhelmed during the COVID-19 part of this deal during the summer that there's really not much to get. A lot of people, I've had to work cases to send them literally to 2 states over to have a better life because there's nothing. The situation's very dire in California, and it's pretty bad in Nevada, Las Vegas, and so on. There's not much to get there, and even if you were to obtain a voucher, what's left has been picked clean, so it would be pretty bad housing. I don't know. So, rather than all the bad news, the good thing about this is one thing we're already starting to see is this variant does it hits quickly, it gives big numbers, it doesn't appear to be very deadly, it's kind of like a cold or the flu, but it also appears to exit quickly. So I'm thinking this is going to come, like a thief in the night. It's going to affect the country, and then it's going to leave. It's not. I hope not to drag on like the current variant. And I think we've had 3 or 4 now. So, if you have questions, this is the purpose of the video. If you do truly have questions about low-income Section 8 housing and so on, now would be a great time to ask those questions. I'm happy to answer those. That's what this video is normally about. One other thing I was going to tell you about, guys, as y'all know, I had been planning the trip. We bought property and a home and so on out there in Arkansas. So I'm just going to keep talking about that till y'all ask a question. The dryer fried the clothes. So I posted a photo about that. Now, that photo was from the internet. That is not my dryer, okay? It wasn't on fire like that, and there were no firefighters, okay? Some of you guys take those photos too literally. So no, I wasn't risking my life, but it did. This is why I'm wearing this rather dated shirt, because a lot of the stuff I'd packed for the Arkansas trip to see the house, was messed up. And so Alexis Lee, how are you doing? And Alexis, thanks for being a member of the channel. By the way, guys, if you're interested in membership in this channel, it's a very simple thing. It's a couple of dollars, and what it does is whenever we receive funds, YouTube takes its half. It's like the mafia. Takes half of whatever you pay for the membership. It gives me the loose change, the leftover, and I use that for the benefit and care of the cats that I have. And I have about 21 as of now. I used to have 22. We lost one of our oldest. So, I rescue cats and so on, and I use that for that particular purpose. So, and on occasion, throughout my 300 videos, you'll see many different cats in the videos at different times and so on. And as I've mentioned before, I cannot show every cat because some are very wild and it would be impractical to pick them up and get shredded in the process of doing so. And then when we get to Arkansas, I'm going to put a live feed outside just so y'all can see maybe 10 minutes. And I think I've given y'all some other photos as well. So good morning, happy holidays. And now it's going to be happy New Year's for you guys. I don't know what states many of you are in, but fireworks, great time. Like I have a neighbor I can't stand. So what I like to do is go down to the firecracker shop. And I always ask them, hey, could you tell me which firecrackers are the most loud, annoying? And what I like to do is every 20 minutes in the middle of the night, just pop one. That way, about the time to tilt off to sleep, I wake them up again. And then we do that process throughout the night to show my fine admiration for them annoying me. I return that with firecrackers every 20 minutes throughout the night so they can, feel my enjoyment. It's cruel, right? But you know what? I'm a patient man. Especially when I'm annoying neighbors. Anyways, Mary Smith. Too bad about the clothes. Did you get? You know what? I gave J.C. Penney's and while I'm waiting for you guys to ask questions about Section 8, I decided to give my business to J.C. Penney's. True, they're not going to have the finest clothes out there, but I have many. For those of you that are old enough and older, Penney's has been around a long time, and they're slowly dying, and they've been holding out so long. And I have a lot of fond memories. That was back when you were younger and people used to go to a mall. You used to hang out in the mall when you're in high school and so on. And Penny's was some of my most fond memories for many reasons. And I used to work for them a long time ago. So I decided to give some of my business, and they had some pretty nice Oxford shirts that I'm going to get and so on. So anyways, looks like Alexis Lee, love your channel and love your very real personality. You know what, Alexis Lee? I've got one of those personalities on YouTube. You either love it or hate it because I tend to be very, tend to speak my mind a lot, and sometimes videos are filled with profanities. But that's the thing about this. There's so much disingenuous on YouTube that when you actually get a real taste of just seeing somebody talking to them like they're in your living room almost, that's something to me that's worth more than somebody doing hair and makeup and they look like some Barbie doll that just got on the 9 o'clock news. I understand people want to do pro videos. Well, look, you know what? I'm a Southern Louisiana man living in Houston, moving to Arkansas, and this is how I like to present my videos. Chris Brito, California. And Christina Michelle says Louisiana. So there's a shout out from a Cajun Creole lady. So welcome to the channel. Good to see you. I was born out there in Lady of the Lake, Baton Rouge, to a German and French family. Okay. That was an interesting house. So Alexa goes on to say, you're real. And these days I value that. Well, I appreciate that. So, you know what we're going to talk about is a trip to Arkansas. And I can't believe you guys are not asking no questions. Nobody needs a voucher. Oh, by the way, let me tell you all a good story. So yesterday I got an email from a client, okay, a potential client. They said that they would need a guaranteed voucher and they needed that for $45. If I couldn't guarantee it for $45, then there was no bueno. So I had to refer them. So as you know, I have two office lines, the one you call for consults, and my other office line is 211. That's for the recipients and people that have flights of fancy. You see, when you have a delusion, I send you to 211 because they have very capable people at 211. They'll answer your calls 24 hours a day. They'll give you about 2 or 3 minutes of casework, and then they'll giggle and hang up on you, okay? They'll also give you a list of wonderful numbers to phone lines that have been dead since the 80s, and they'll refer you to the shelter for a roll of socks and a rubber mat. That's a great way to get a voucher. So you get a voucher to pick up your rubber mat, and then you spend some time at the shelter. So, look, guys, let's be genuine here. Nobody's got no fucking voucher for $45. I don't sell them, okay? I work on people's cases to give them the benefit or concept that they'll be able to get it quicker. 93% of the time, I'm successful. 7% of the time, I absolutely fail. Look, it's better than the odds when you spend that $5 on a lotto ticket, isn't it? So just to be real, my friends, and I'm not upset. She made her best offer to me, but no, I don't think so. Look, I'm not a hooker on 3rd Street. I'm not working for $45 for a month to get you a voucher and then guarantee it and then deal with your bullshit chargeback. I'm not doing that. So, I work with people on a normal level. I do as much that I can. I've got a proven history and I enjoy people. But look, I'm not doing that kind of stuff. All right. So, Mr. Good morning. How are you doing? RHJ, can you buy a house on a voucher? Well, I get a lot of questions about the house part. And so what happens is, imagine this, you're using a voucher, and that voucher, when you turn it over to the landlord, pays a part of your rent, correct? So the same concept with the house. If the housing authority is participating in the program, and what they'll do is, rather than that voucher that you're utilizing, rather than paying the landlord, it will pay your mortgage for an indefinite amount of time. Now, once you're locked into that deal, you've got to keep that house for a minimum of 10 years. And of course, there's a laundry list of other things that you've got to meet and that are requirements. Now, one thing I would love to be able to issue to you guys is a nationwide list of all housing authorities participating. In 2000, there were a lot. It has faded immensely since then. And so you're going to go county by county across America till you find the housing authorities participating in the program. If you don't have a voucher, then you'd have to move there. If you do have a voucher, then you would want to port there. It's a great idea. Look, how often can you get the U.S. government to pay your mortgage, or most of it? It's an excellent deal. And then you own the home and the yard, and you don't have neighbors and screaming children and barking dogs, So it's a bit of a complex process. So imagine you're purchasing a home yourself, some of which many of you have done. But now you add about 4 other factors into it. So it's quite a lengthy process. It can last anywhere from 90 days to 8 months, depending on how many hula hoops you're jumping through. I might make another video where we get kind of in depth in that, but it would be a very long video, about 3 hours. But moving on, Kevin Winters, good morning. How are you? Yes, I need a voucher. Man, let me tell you what, you and the rest of the nation is getting tough, guys. But here's the good news. Let's think about this in a positive light. Despite the Omicron variant, on January 1st, we get a new federal budget. Because what do corporations and the government do at the end of the year? They cook the books, and then they get rid of the money and funding that's out there. So it's kind of dead right now. But on January 1st, it starts then. We have a new federal budget, and we start spending money again. So it's a great thing. And I also think, as much as it's going to hurt us for this variant that's, like a wildfire, I think that the government will likely have to make some more reparations. Not as serious as the stimulus checks, but they're going to do additional things probably depending on the outcome of this. And so that's going to be to the benefit of many of you that are absolutely struggling to make it right now, So I'm looking, and the minute I find out anything additional, the United States government, including anything to do with the housing authority, I will publish it to you guys. I often get directors report directly from HUD, and it's a very direct report. So it's from the directors over there. Anyways, moving on. So, Christina Michelle, how to get a transfer to another state? Well, Christina, I'm going to simplify this. Now, I want you to understand this is not the complete process, all right? And the reason it's not complete is because there are many things that could happen. First thing you'd want to do is you contact your housing authority, and you'd want to ask to speak to the portability specialist, the person in charge, and their title would likely be portability specialist. Once you speak to them, then you would want to ask for a request for tenancy approval, or TFA packet. And then you would also want to contact the forwarding housing authority to see whether or not, so you can speak to their portability specialist. Now that you got the numbers and emails to both portability specialists, and there's a possibility, then your portability specialist would send paperwork over to them, and then the receiving housing authority would say they're either billing, which means they'll send a bill to your old state, or they're absorbing, where they say, all right, you take the voucher in the city you're currently in, throw it in the trash. We're going to issue your own, okay? But here's where things get a little bit crazy. Just because you port to somewhere else does not mean whatever entitlements you have with that voucher, like accommodations and everything else, doesn't mean that's going to translate over to the new state. New housing authority go look at it. Well, she's got a whole laundry list of perks on here. We're going to have to remove half of that stuff, okay? That's one thing that could happen. Number 2, you could end up moving into a city where you cannot afford to be. 2, there may not even be any housing to snatch or get, because the market has been 20% to 30% overheated. So you'd want to make sure there are actually, in fact, landlords that would be willing to even accept it, that you're not moving somewhere where it's been picked clean and the only thing left is a crack house. And look, I mean that quite literally, because a lot of cities right now, They're in high demand. A lot of the houses are, a lot of the good places that were left are gone. So you end up with really auspicious housing. And so that would be a terrible way to utilize it. And in the worst case scenario, you could end up moving down there and then have all your stuff in storage and you're living in a really bad motel. So as I always tell people, I'm not suggesting you need my help, but you would be wise to invest some of your money into a consultant. That way that you can make that transition without putting yourself in peril. It's always exciting to hear, yeah, I can go to Hawaii, move there and all that, port there. But boy, if you land there and if it doesn't work out the way you want, and you're not well prepared for every angle, it can go very badly. And then if you're unable to find the property within the set time parameter, you lose it all. So then you're at a hotel with nothing. So there's a lot of things you're gambling with. So just, you're a capable woman. Look into it. Okay, this is a big thing. Whether if you're moving one county to the next, that's okay. But if you're moving out of state, I'd say use caution with that. Moving on, RH says, would you please help me get a Section 8 voucher for me and my daughter? I'm located in Van Nuys, California. I got about 19 clients from that particular area, and so it's very popular. Here's what I can do, RH. Okay. As you know, I get about 8,000 emails every month. People wanting help. Okay. And as much as I like to do things for free for people, it's not always possible. First 14 years I did this, I actually did a lot of it for free for people. I would say book a consult. I would say first, you know what? See how much you can learn on your own. And then if you run into a roadblock and it's just a couple of questions, email me. If you actually need somebody to actually take over and handle your case where you're getting through the system quicker and efficiently, then I would say investigate whether or not a consultant would be ideal for you. It doesn't have to be me. I don't want to sell anybody anything, okay? Nobody ever has to pay for a voucher or the use of it. I'm just saying that if you're not particularly good at this, and you can use the help, then, look into everybody, make sure you're checking their reputation, that they're stand up, that what they're saying to you matches the actual conversation out of their mouth. There's a lot of people that say things they can't do. Okay. So I think you know that you're a grown man. Alexis Lee, can I get dibs on your house after you complete your new home? I've got 10,000 in savings. Well, Alexis Lee, when I purchased that property, let me tell you the story about the Arkansas home. Now, I own a forest, separate, North Arkansas, and just under Little Rock, Arkansas. Moving into another subject here. So that property in its home went to auction, and they wanted it $1,100. Okay, this is a 1,700 square foot home. This is what happens when you go to an auction and nobody shows up. You get almost a half acre 1,700 square foot home from the 50s now, okay? Look, this is no beautiful stucco home in Florida. 50s home, probably in disrepair in many ways. But as far as I can tell, it seems okay. I posted a picture about it. And then it was sold to me, okay? Because wasn't at that. So he was being upfront as the seller. And so right now, I have not been there. I don't even know if the house exists. I might have just paid out close to $10K for a house that doesn't even exist. I bought a $10K lot. Wouldn't that be terrible? Yeah. So I will give you all the photos and videos when I get back, and we'll find out. Can you buy it from me? Well, it depends on how much I need to renovate and do things to make it livable. This is to hold me over while I'm building an actual new, smaller home in that forest in North Arkansas, because I bought a forest out in the Ozarks of Arkansas. It is literally deer, bears, and so on out there. It actually has wolves. And I was warned by the locals not to let the cats loose in the woods because of that. There are wolves or whatever you call them. So I knew there were black bears. So I'm going to have to fence up part of the property because of that. So here we go. We're all over that place. We're vouchers to wolves to spiders and all kinds of craziness. This is why I enjoy my channel. I get to talk about everything. It's not just one set thing, okay? Christina Michelle says, thanks. I appreciate it, Christina. I wish I could have given you more precise information. And every time we ask about things, sorry, I have a sip of this drink. I got one color of all of these. This one's rough. God, dog, man. I think there's some lime in that, so it's a little bit rough. So yeah, I went into the gas station. I bought 6, and they're all different colors. But that man, that's going to be a rough drink to get through. All right, so getting back to what I was saying, I don't even know. I lost my train of thought. So we'll just take a look at these comments because they're rolling in pretty quick. Tara Boo, hey, welcome back. Happy holidays. Happy New Year's. If I hire you, can you help me get a voucher in North Carolina? Well, Tara, let me put it this way. Yes, I can help you. Am I the best choice? I don't know. That's something I always tell people: make sure that you do your due diligence. Look into my reputation. Look into reviews. Look at me online. Look at me on YouTube. Does it match the things that I'm saying? Or am I selling a bunch of snake oil? Okay, and people getting ripped off. I don't think they are, because if it's a live video and I don't have angry, pissed off people here, I think it's pretty safe to say after all these years, 2 decades, we're okay. But to answer your question, yes, I could probably help you, but first I need to talk to you to see what kind of case you have. I've had 3 people I turned down this week because I knew their cases were going nowhere, and then it would have been reprehensible for me to even consider billing them or accepting money from them with a shitty case like that. Okay. So, anyways, yeah. So I hope that answers your question, Tara, to some degree. RH, Jay, I have never been through this before, and I have medical problems of memory and how to do things. I would really like to help me. I will pay you. Well, RH, why don't we start with you just calling me? There's no cost to that, okay? We talk for a few minutes and see what's going on with it, then see. That's the thing, guys. I understand I understand desperation, but one of the reasons I managed to remain when everybody else is sitting in the jail for lying to people is the fact that when I tell people I do things, it checks out. I complete what I'm doing, and so I don't want you guys to rush into anything. Okay, I appreciate that y'all trust me, but I think that we should first talk about your case a little bit, and then see if it's something I can really help you with. Good morning, Jasmine Victoria. So there's my queen of the channel. She is a longtime member and very, very active in the channel. I always appreciate her being here. And then there's Peaches Greer. Good morning, happy holidays, happy New Year's. Peaches is a longtime member. A lot of the people here in this live chat are long time. They've been around for several years in some cases. So, anyways, RH Jay, all I get is about $10.40 a month. Well, let's talk about Social Security payments and disability payments and survivor benefit payments. Here's an interesting fact: 20 years. I don't know how many clients, 9,000 maybe. The lowest payment I've ever seen was around 400. My average payment is between the 950s to about 1250. Okay, that makes you ordinary. Okay, and then the extraordinary payments are 15 to 17. And I had one lady from California, and it happened just the other day. She blew me out the water. She gets 4,500. I didn't even know they issue checks for that much. So what I want to tell you, RH, is despite I understand the struggle, okay, with having a fixed amount of money that you're getting every month, but I got to tell you, you're doing better than about 40% of my clients, and they're getting through it. Okay, so I know you can get through this, RH. We just have to be careful about how you're spending and things like that, and then seeing what would be appropriate in your case. Okay, I'm not a very expensive person, by the way, folks. All right. Peaches Greer goes on. Where did you buy a lot in Florida, Jay? Oh no, I didn't buy it in Florida. I bought it in Arkansas. Matter of fact, I'm going to publish the website. I know the owner. He lives in Friendswood, Texas, and he buys them at auction. Okay, and he gets them for a song and a dance. Trust me. The same size lot this home is on right now, I could probably pick it up for $1,000. Okay. Now, if you want a larger land out there, it's more, but you could probably buy a whole forest for $2,000 if you wanted to. Houses are low over there. The most pricey ones are 30 and 40K. This is Arkansas. There isn't a lot of jobs. People are extreme low income out there. And when property enters the market in the state of Arkansas, you pay virtually nothing for it. Okay. I looked at Mississippi. I looked at Alabama. They're up a little bit, but Arkansas is by far the cheapest place I've ever seen. Look, you can buy whole fields, man, for $1,500. That's just how it is out there. When you see the map of Arkansas, you'll understand they've only got one major city. Most of those other little cities on the way to Little Rock, man, are 400 people, 1,000 people. There's only 500,000 people in the entire, if I'm correct, there's only about 500,000 people in the entire state of Arkansas. So now you understand why they're giving away land for next to nothing. And why it's been such a pain in the ass for me to figure out who the electric company is. That's another thing about Arkansas. You move there, get ready for no information. Most of the cities don't have a town hall, so you can't find out about electricity, water, internet, nothing. I've tried even calling the mayor, okay, which happens to be in a tiny little house, the mayor's office. I tried to call the fire department, which is just one guy that's only there once a week. So if you buy property in Arkansas, you should be prepared for real backwoods, okay? I mean, way backwoods. This ain't Louisiana, Mississippi. This is as back as you're going to get. There are good people there, but what you're used to in most states, you're going to be set back in time dealing with Arkansas. Trust me, I'm already frustrated. I'm driving there because I can't even figure out who the fuck the electric company is. You see what I'm saying? You can't figure out the water because they don't even have websites for it, or they just put up something and then there's no number, or they don't answer, and so it's not like living in Houston or any other modern city. So, but again, I'm not talking bad about Arkansas. I'm just saying that you got to be ready for a lot of work to live there. Okay, moving on. Alexis Lee, how does Section 8 count annual income as far as one-time back payments and PUA unemployment in Colorado? To be frank with you, I'd have to pull out policy procedures manual for the specific county that you're in Colorado. Just to be clear, that policy procedures issued by HUD, or the Department of Urban Development in Indian Affairs, issues stated policy, also under Title 24. That stuff is then remandated, then kind of rewritten to match the particular economy in that county. And so they'll make their determinations on those particular rules. To be clear, the old averages are about the same, 70-20, 80-20. So to get that calculation, to give you a very exact answer, I'd say email me, okay? And it's not something I can do in this video. By the way, if you ever read a PIH guide, which is their data procedures, what you'll find is about 400 to 600 pages just on calculations, all right? Is it that serious? No, but they write extensively because some little idiot that was probably going to Harvard decided that he wanted to write for weeks, and he made this manual, and it's a lot of fluff. Okay, I could have written this probably in 20 pages, but this guy blew it up into 600 flipping pages. I guess because it made him feel smart. Who knows? But it always disgusts me having to look at this PHI guy. Moving on, Piper Solar Star. That's my interesting name of the day. So every time I get somebody that comments on my channel with an interesting name, I always recognize them. So Piper Solar Star says, how much is it to clear the land and get a PEC test? I don't know. I haven't even checked into it yet. I'm actually keeping the forest intact. I don't want to clear anything. The other property is already cleared with a house on it, but it has remained an empty house for probably a decade. There may actually be some undergrowth out there, quite a bit actually. So I don't know just yet. I'm actually have a lot more answers about that property for Arkansas when I get closer there. Now they have their own sawmills and all that out there. In one of the counties where I bought property, the other county, I think that actually a lot of the residents handle the clearing, so they actually own dozers. In large chunks of property as well out there in the basin of the Ozark. So Piper, I'll probably have more updates about that pretty shortly. Mary Smith, wow, fireman only once a week. It truly is like that. I'll tell you what, guys, let me give you all the address. Y'all can take a look for yourself. Pull it up real quick. Okay, so it's going to be in Carthage, Carthage, Arkansas. 205 South Patillo Street, Carthage, Arkansas, 71725. Population of my town is 325 people. Okay. And in the forest area, which would be, let's see, my forest is going to be lot 26, block 13, Pleasant Drive, Ozark Acres, Arkansas, 72 482. Now, that's only one address. That's block 26. I actually own a whole row of blocks of this. So this lot, block, and then so on. As you can see, it's really out there, and it butts against about 100 miles of nothing but straight forest. You get lost out there. If my kitty cats get lost out there on the forest, they'll be walking for several weeks to get to the next nearest population. Okay, it's no joke. Our neighborhood backs nothing but a gigantic sunset of nothing but forest. I should have bought a lot next to that forest, so that's a guarantee that it's probably not going to be developed anytime soon. So yeah, it's a big old deal, and it's going to be. I think I'm saying wolves, okay, but I don't know. It could be coyotes, black bears, and so on. So I'm excited to see them. I hope I don't get mauled by one. Fat guy like me running through the woods, you might get a bear paw in my face. You never know. I'm looking back up at all the comments here. Peaches Greer says, wow. Mary Smith, wow, that's education, Jay, is surfing, learning curves, backwoods dreams come true. Yeah. Well, who didn't want to own a little magical forest? You know, it's as magical as you make it, man. You look at people telling me, hey, why don't you go out there in that forest and build a house? I am. And they're like, well, you know, that's going to be so much work. Well, no, it's not. I mean, I'm going to do it at my own pace. I'm not going to swing a hammer for 12 hours a day. There's no hurry with this. I do it at the pace so I enjoy it. It's when you turn something that you're passionate about doing, you turn it in to a project that's a pain in the ass where you feel compelled to be out there 12 sun up, sun down. That's when you take something and you ruin it. I'll deal with this in due course as I enjoy it, as I learn it, and I'm probably going to hire a few people from different trades to advise me on how not to electrocute myself and how not to wreck certain parts of the home. You know, I'm not an AC expert, and I'm not going to learn to be one. So I will have to pull real people in to consult for that. But I'm still doing the work. That's the important thing. If they're willing to teach, I'm willing to learn, and that's what I'm going to do out there. Moving on. All right. So Chris Burrito. Okay, we'll just call you Chris for now, Mr. and Mrs. Chris. How much would it cost to talk to you about my recertification? Well, my typical little consults, they used to be 60. They're just $45. State of Texas requires me to charge 8.25% tax. That's it. $45 plus that, I think it's like $48. Yeah, the consults used to be 60. But they're not anymore. They're just 45 plus tax. That's all it is. 20 minutes of my time, you know. Mayor Smith, sawmills, love it. That is in my little town of 300 people, that is the only employer. That is it. We have a sawmill. So you're out there sawing, you know what I'm saying? All right, Jake, can you please apply your email? I'll put it up real quick. Let's see, guys. You want my email. So I'm going to give you all the email. You know, I'm glad to be back. You know, y'all haven't seen me for about a week or so. It felt weird not talking to a lot of you. So I'm going to add the email here. This is for questions. Please do not abuse this. If y'all have questions about anything, you can email me. Please put them all in one email. Do not email me 30 times a day. Do not do it every day. If you do that, then I'm going to recommend, you know, that you end up having a psychiatric evaluation because I already receive a lot of email. So please just once and be reasonable. Okay, guys? There it is. So y'all can reach me with reasonable questions at a reasonable pace. All right. Because I had one person, they wrote about 20,000 words and then they would email me 30 times a day. Do you see how that would be a problem for me? And then I know that person's suffering inside their mind. And then they would not probably be a very good candidate for a voucher because they probably they're not attached to reality very well. So just, you know, be reasonable about this, guys. Let's see. Mary Smith, his neighbor is the sunset. Yes. The birds, the bees. That's the way I'm preferring. I lived in Houston. Okay. I don't need to be 5 minutes from the nightclub. Okay. I'm okay with that stuff. The forest, me and those cats, building the house, and so on. I'm fine with that. So yeah. Shawana, good morning. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Bark Tech. Okay. I don't know the context of what you're telling me, but is that where you went to school or college or Peaches Greer? We missed you. I appreciate that, Peaches. I missed you too. RH says, thank you, Jack. So, guys, you know, since nobody's really asking questions about Section 8, which is stunning. Well, y'all asked a few. We'll talk about something else interesting, and I'd like to get y'all's comments. Now, I got friends that say that my cologne is gasoline, so I decided that I would introduce y'all to something old school. Now, most of you that are in my channel are ladies. I get that. It's 94% of my channel are ladies, so I enjoy that immensely. I think it'd be a lot different for me if my channel was mostly men. So this is 20 years old. But the first time I ever smelt this particular cologne, I bought it not because I wanted to so much smell good. It just, when I smelt it out in the air, I thought it was great. But most people think this is toilet water. So I'll get you, see if any of y'all remember this stuff. It has something in this stuff. I wear it simply because it just, I don't know, man. I like it a lot. So if y'all remember that cologne, it don't cost you anything now. You can probably pick it up at Walmart for $15, but there are lots of colognes and stuff out there, but I've stuck with that since I was 19 years old. The other one I picked up lately, this is an old school one. Most of you might have remembered this one. I didn't buy it for the name. I just bought it because I like the smell of it. So anyways, y'all can tell me later. I always like to bring up those colognes occasionally. So Gertrude Forbes, thank you, Jay. Have a great day. Oh, well, thank you. All right, guys. Well, it looks like we've had a pretty good deal. Now, one thing I'm going to warn you is I mentioned Sunday, state of Texas, I mentioned last time. Y'all remember I posted that, how we got snow out here. It knocked out the power grid to almost the whole state. If that ends up happening Sunday, I have a Jenny now. We have a generator here. And so there won't be as much suffering. But if y'all don't see me Sunday through Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it's because our power grid in the state of Texas is not even prepared for even a little bit of ice. I mean, a finger length of snow outside could indicate we could drop the whole power grid in the state. We already did it last year, and we're expecting these temperatures to rapidly go from about 80 to around below 30 Sunday. And that's going to wreak absolute havoc in our state. So if y'all don't see me, that's why. Me and the cats are going to be, chilling under the comforter, and who knows? RH, is it possible to pay you today if we can start help me today? Because, yeah, it's possible. Yeah. The thing is, RH, if you paid for consulting today, you would still have to pick just any old day, and then I can switch it to the day to this afternoon for you. Okay, consider that a favor. I don't normally work in afternoons, and on my days off, I don't normally work, but I don't mind just taking on one little consult because I work a lot. Let's think about this for a minute, guys. Last year, I assisted close to 646 clients. Okay, January through March, y'all like to kill me, not y'all personally. But I was working 18-hour days. It was absurd, the amount of people, okay? It was because of this COVID. It went to such extreme, and it didn't stop for 3 months. I got a small break, and then summer hit, and then it really exploded, and I got waylaid again to the point of exhaustion, okay? And then it slowed down again, and then it sped up again for the holidays, all right? So 3 times last year, I was brought to my knees almost with this. And it was too much for any one man. Not only that, but the stories that people convey to me through casework and the level of desperation that I saw last year out of people that have lost everything was a very, very big emotional toll. There are people that can clock into their job and don't give a shit. That's like dealing with the housing authority. When I deal with people's cases, it matters to me immensely. I think about it after I'm off to the phone. It has an emotional impact. When you tell me, hey, I'm 81 and I'm sleeping under the bushes, everything in my life that I work for has been taken from me. All I have left is my slippers and I'm in the woods. Of course, it has a very severe effect. And so last year was difficult for me. We're starting again this year. And you see my concerns with this new variant and the consequences, what it could do. Okay. So, yeah, I will accept that things are slow because of the holidays, but we'll probably end up back at a month to 2 months wait starting somewhere in late January, and then it'll be absurd till March or April, okay? I don't like working those kind of hours. It's detrimental to anybody's health, and that's not including the mental aspect of what I deal with, Moving on. So, Lakeisha Watson, good morning. Happy holidays. Happy New Year's. How can I get Section 8 faster? Looks like your keyboard went a little wild on that word. I'm not sure what that means. My landlord is selling his house. Um, Lakeisha, that would actually be a pretty long conversation as far as how you get them. I don't know what state you're in, what county. I don't know anything about your case. Um, there are ways, certainly. I mean, if you're disabled, if you're homeless, if you're a veteran, there are a lot of things that could play as a factor in your case that could get it quicker. They got emergency housing vouchers, but again, it'd be like an hour conversation. And I don't virtually know anything about you or your case, Miss Watson. So I'm not trying to elude your question. I just that's the reason why I consult with people, because there are a whole lot of questions I have to ask somebody to figure out whether or not they can get something quickly, or if they're going to wait a lifetime. Peaches Greer. The same thing happened to me, Lakeisha Watson. Yep. Lakeisha Watson goes, say, I'm disabled. So that is one principle. One thing I want to mention to you guys. Everybody is under the impression that, hey, I'm 99 and I have a disability. So does everybody else that wants a voucher. So I don't want to disappoint anybody. But the biggest chunk of people out here that want vouchers are disabled and also old. So what that means is you have to have a lot more preferences, a lot more elements in your case in order to get this voucher quicker. That's what I work with my clients. If you're not legally blind on a Monday, you will be by Friday. Okay. Look, I make it a career of understanding that if the housing authority is looking for something very particular, then we match the plot in the course of what they're looking for. That way, your case stands out against every other person who just simply is low income and feels entitled. Okay, it's clever play. Is it a violation of law, federal law? No. It just means that before we approach a housing authority, it's important to know what vouchers they have, the reasons of which they're willing to grant them, and then how you could potentially be considered one of the highest point or cases there. And to know that, you have to understand what the preferentials are. It's going to be more than just your low income or your disabled, okay? And so I would recommend watching a few of my videos, okay, in regards to that, because I think it would be helpful for you to first understand the base of that. Because applying for a voucher doesn't mean anything. I mean, you're putting your name, your number. Here's the deal, guys. When you fill out an application, you run down to the housing authority and you fill that application out. Let me tell you what happens. If you don't check the right boxes and you don't have the right preferences on there, what'll happen is they'll enter that into their system and then you'll wait 15 years. Okay. So another thing you have to consider with those preferences is they may ask a specific question about domestic violence, about homelessness, and so on. Let's say one of those boxes don't get checked. That just sets you back 5 years. It's not a game, guys. Once you give those answers, then you're not going to change those answers again for another year. So you're stuck with what you've said and wrote down. I would tell you guys, look, if you mess up that application, man, you're going to wait a lifetime. That's why we have to go back in. A lot of clients recertify them, and if they've really done a bad job, then I tell them, look, it's not even a possibility for you to live in that county. But the great news is, we can go 15 minutes over the county line to the next county, and this time we're going to get better answers. If they're requiring you to be battered and homeless and all this other stuff, then we'll make sure that you are by a Friday when you apply. That's the thing. If the system wasn't rigged, then we could all just simply drive down to the housing authority. Excuse me, can you print out a voucher? It never works that way. But yet everybody that works at the housing authority, their friends, family, and political constituents, they've all got vouchers. They're laying everywhere. That's why the director of the housing authority, her maid's got a voucher, the lawnman's got a voucher, but the rest of you mere mortals, no, you don't get a voucher. Why? Because you understand how the politics work with this. Look, I've seen every possible case scenario. They hired a guy in Houston, Texas last year. This guy, they literally found him off of Craigslist, hired him out there to be a specialist. Well, he did a very special job. What he did was he sold vouchers for $5,000 to friends and family, and they didn't even catch it for a year. Why? Because there's virtually no oversight. So if you don't think that Mary, sitting in the housing authority, doesn't give Sally some voucher for her drug-addicted son, you're crazy. It goes on more than you can think. Type in housing authority and lawsuit, and you will see hundreds of pages of where HUD and DC is suing housing authority authorities across the nation for all kinds of forms of discrimination and issuing vouchers. We just had a lady in North Carolina running a housing authority. She was a director of the program. She actually cut a voucher to herself and then rented the house out to make money. So if you don't think there's not hustle and bullshit involved in this, there's plenty. So when I tell you that we're trying to unrig a rig system in your favor, don't cry later. I had a Christian family contact me. We're Christian. We're above that. We're not giving any different answers. Okay, well, you're going to be praying from under that bridge. Okay, you and Jesus and that Bible are going to be on the sidewalk this Christmas. Now, when you decide that you can ask for forgiveness later, because look, God don't want nobody on the sidewalk. You're not playing with a fair system. So the thing is, that's what I do when I deal with housing authorities. I push that stuff to the line. It's if there's a loophole, we cross it. We cross into it. There's nothing about lying. There's never required to lie. There's no requirement to break any law. It just means that I exploit housing authorities for a living and have done so legally. And I'm exceptional at what I do. Okay? That's all that it means. Moving on from that. Sorry for the rant, but sometimes I like to explain that because there are so many new people that come to the channel, and I think that we all are under the impression that this could be simpler than it seems. Look, this pandemic and all the variants and stress that is put on the system in this country has definitely made things 5 to 20 times harder than it used to be. I'm having to send families from out of state. Same people told, oh, well, I'll never move out of New York. Guess what they're doing right now? They're in a little wagon and they're driving across the state to Florida. Why are they doing that? Because they didn't believe me when I told them that, hey, we're not going to be able to deal with that city. So I got to take a sip. All right. Let's take a look at a few comments here. Peaches Greer, same thing happened to me. Okay, sorry, I read that one. I'm disabled. I meant to say, said Lakeisha. Okay, so apparently I've got scammers in the channel. So excuse me for a minute, guys. I got to ban a few people. I thought that's what it is. Yep, here's another one. I tell you what, these YouTube idiots out of Russia and China and all that coming in these channels, and they're putting up websites, .this and .that. So I'm going to have to find one of you guys that have been a long time member of my channel to start helping me out with the live videos, because they're putting in these links. Look, guys, you click on that shit, man, you're going to end up on a website where you can't exit out, and then next thing you know, they're going to download everything in your computer. And then you'll start getting phone calls, and what's going to happen is that guy in India is going to need you to go down to that CVS and get him 25 gift cards, and he's going to take everything you've ever owned. Okay? Trust me. There's all kinds of garbage going on with that stuff. So yeah, I tell you what, guys, y'all have my email up in there that I put up there. If you're interested in helping me monitoring the live part of this, which means I'm not accepting any type of web addresses, anything in this feed, and you're a work at home man or woman, and you want to join me in these videos and help me block the spam bullshit, then I'm okay with that. I blocked over 13,000 comments and other things, but I often only catch it days later, because in a live video I have to be able to talk to y'all, and I didn't catch the first person that did that. So anyways, Brittany Madero, hey, Happy New Year's. Peaches Greer says she'll help me. Hey, guys, y'all email me, the ones that want to help me, and then I'll make y'all administrative in the channel to block these web addresses to nefarious places. I don't have the ability to do it right now. That's why I need y'all to email me. I'll need you to email me your actual YouTube name. That way I'll be able to do that, okay? So we're looking at New Year's coming up, and I'm hoping you guys are gonna have a good time. Remember, if you've got bad neighbors, now is the time to show that it's the time to give. Go get some M90s, some M900s, and start popping them all night long to let the neighbors know how much you love them. Start about 3 a.m. Every time that doze off, pop another one. That's what we call Louisiana special. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. It's been 54 minutes. It looks like we've just been ranting about a bunch of different things. I want you guys to pay close attention about that Omicron. It's going to affect us. It's going to affect casework. It's going to affect how we're getting housing, and it has a serious potential to absolutely devastate Section 8 housing and low-income housing right now. We really cannot go through a repeat of that. For most of you that are seeking housing vouchers, another thing, so you better step on the gas on this, because it's already been 3 weeks. And let me give you an example here. It took a year for COVID-19, that variation, to spike up to 300,000 cases. It took this variant 3 weeks to go to 300. Okay. If y'all under delusion, we're not going to be registering millions every day that are going to catch this. Now, I'm not suggesting anybody's going to die from it. We all know that it's a very weak variation, but it's highly contagious. People will stop going to work. Businesses will want to open. And it's nothing about political mandates. It just means that it's going to have a big effect. And we're going to see it play out. And what I've said is, a day is long. Watch what happens. Give it another 2 weeks. Read the news, and you're starting to see it. Because right now I'm already having problems from housing authorities. So I'm warning you guys. As of today, 3 weeks into this deal, it's already registering more numbers than COVID-19 ever did. Okay. And on a world scale, we're at the very tip of this. So I think we'll hit our peak at the end of January, and then hopefully it'll go down, down, down. And then we can look forward to all the new variants. So, all right. So, guys, Christina Michelle, yes, yes, yes. And then Brittany says, oh my God, I love it. Peaches Girl, I'll help you too. Mary Smith, Happy New Year. Yeah, Happy New Year. Going to do maybe a few fireworks. Who knows? And then I'll tell you what, guys, it is Tuesday. I'll see y'all again Thursday. If that person that asked me about the appointment today, make sure you book it and then you email me. That way I'll set you for this afternoon. And then we're going to get to business on January 1st. There are a lot of cases I got to get completed, get you guys in housing before all this turns into a shit show for 2022. All right, I've enjoyed talking to y'all, and I hope you have a wonderful day.